For the first time this season, it is Red Shirt Friday at Doran Park. Hello, everyone, and welcome into Pregame Tomahawk Talk. I'm your host, Adam Gotkin, ahead of the Bourne Braves taking on the Cotuit Kettleers. Yes, first Friday home game of the season for the Bravos, so we'll see the red shirts out and the camo hats. But for the actual game itself, Bourne desperately looking for a victory in this game after falling last night to the Falmouth Commodores 4-2. That was a very frustrating game for Bourne, in which they had good pitching but just could not score enough runs. They got guys on, just could not bring them home. We'll get you the highlights from that game in just a little bit, but first a little bit about the opponent today, the Cotuit Kettleers. This has been one of the hottest teams in all of the Cape League recently. Before last night's 7-10 loss to the Brewster Whitecaps, 6 wins in a row for this Cotuit squad. They've been a top team in the West Division all year long. They've got great pitching. They have probably the most powerful offense in the league, so this should be a difficult game for the Bravos, but a must-win one with the month of June starting to come to an end. This is a massive game tonight here at Doran Park. Well, we'll start you off here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk with the highlights from last night's game for the Bravos.
10 on the pitch clock for Bybee. He looks at third base. The 1-2 delivery. It's a slider. Skied in the air to right field and relatively deep. Viderick is under it, runs in, makes the catch. Tagging from third is Willits, and the throw will go to third base. Viderick, oh, it's not in time. Looked like an absolute dime to Cam Kojal at third base to get out Keelan, but they call him safe. So a sac fly for Luke Gaffney. Willits scores, Keelan into third, and there's one away. And the Commodores strike first here in bottom one. From the windup now is Bybee. 2 away, 2-0 count. And Keelan still off third base. Pitch to Jones, up and in, past the glove of Graveline. He can't find it. Here comes Keelan. He's going to score. Graveline couldn't find the baseball off his glove, turned, couldn't see it, and Keelan read it like a book. Walks in and scores, and Falmouth leads 2-0. Hart lanes in. Now glove at his face, looks at second base at Holcomb. 1-2 count with 2 away. The pitch, Viderick, ground ball right side, backhanded from Keelan, flips to second for the force, and that ends the inning. So the Braves strand 3 more. Graveline just standing off third base, had the leadoff triple. Hart's delivery, Stanfield a drive, right center field in deep. Jones towards the track, at the wall. He makes the catch, backpedaling into the wall, and Graveline will tag up and score. So there it is for the Braves. They break that stranded runner streak. They get on the board and cut the Falmouth lead to 1. It's 2-1 here at the top of the fourth.
Graveline came around to score on the Chris Stanfield sac fly. That's been the only run so far tonight for the Bravos, who have 5 hits and have stranded 7 runners on base. Ferguson checks the runner. The 1-2. Ground ball up the middle. It's going to get through for a base hit. Here comes Viderick around third. The throw to the plate is off the mark, and the Bravos have tied it on a Matthew Graveline RBI single. Carey won the first battle between these two to lead off the 6th inning. 2-0 from Reisdorf. Ground ball up the middle for a base hit. Keelan will score from third. Here comes Gaffney from second. The throw goes to third, and the Commodores lead 4-2 after the 2-run single by Dylan Carey, his 4th hit tonight. Coyle, again, shakes off the initial sign. Likes the second one. The payoff to Stanfield is swung on and missed as Bourne will lose once again, this time at the hands of the Falmouth Commodores. And Falmouth wins back-to-back games for the first time in the summer of 2024.
Now joined on Pregame Tomahawk Talk by the play-by-play broadcasters for the Bourne Braves, Nathan Schwartz and Cam Manna, ahead of the Bravos taking on the Cotuit Kettleers for the first time this season. And Nathan, let's start with you. The guy who the Braves are going to on the bump today is Zane Adams, who we've already seen pitch twice this season.
Yeah, I feel like I keep saying this, but it was a Braves starter that looked great in his last outing. 5 innings, 4 hits, only 1 earned run last Friday at Falmouth, and he's just looking to keep that momentum going today here at home in this 2-game homestand for the Bravos.
You said it there. The starts have been really outstanding recently, but the bats have had some struggles, especially last night early on with runners in scoring position.
But thankfully for the Braves, it's a new day and it's a new time here tonight for them to turn the page. But 16 base runners last night, 8 were stranded for the Bravos. We saw 5 consecutive strikeouts to close out that game. the bats were just not there overall. We talked about that all of last night, but the biggest thing for Bourne right now is make those adjustments, turn the page, and forget about that game against Falmouth. You have a big test here against Cotuit, back-to-back home games for the first time this summer, and the perfect time to turn things around.
Yeah, a very big stretch here. As you just said, back-to-back home games for the first time this summer. Then you follow that up with a trip to Orleans, who's currently in last place in the East Division. So this is really a crucial part of the schedule for the Bravos.
Yeah, and you get that off day on Monday with Fenway Day, and then a big week next week with the 4th of July festivities. So this is the start of what needs to be a good run here for Bourne. Now you're only a half game separated with Falmouth at the bottom of the division. Remember, the top 4 teams get in. That 5th team in each division is left out. Right now, it seems like it's going to be a race between Bourne and Falmouth unless one of those teams starts to separate themselves for that last spot.
It's still a long season, and it continues with today's game between the Bravos and the Kettleers. We'll continue to preview it here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk. Adam Gotkin now joined by Ben Bybee here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk, pitcher out of Arkansas. Yesterday, when you pitched against Falmouth, you had a couple of your college teammates on the opposing team. What is that like, and how fun does that make summer ball?
Yeah, it's a blast. Just going to the opposing team's field, or even them coming here and knowing you're going to see some of your buddies kind of make summer a little more fun. Kind of seeing some guys you usually don't see over the summer. So yeah, it's good to talk to them obviously before and after the game. And then Jason obviously is now going to Oklahoma State, but been one of my really close buddies for 2 years now. I think he was hitting 4 or 5 hole last night for him. So always fun to kind of face your teammates too. It's kind of a different aspect of the game you usually don't get when they're on your team, but no, it's a lot of fun and I enjoy it.
You started off yesterday a little bit of a rocky start, but then turn around and go 4 innings scoreless after that. How do you clear that first inning out of your mind and turn around?
Yeah, I think it did a good job just kind of like motivating me a little bit with it, kind of lighting a fire under my butt, not letting it get to me too much, but definitely kind of using it as motivation to kind of like tell myself that's not who I am, and try and use that a little bit to kind of keep myself going and give myself kind of some motivation.
How do you get into a routine here this summer? You move to a new place, and then baseball, especially pitching, is so much about your routine. What goes into building that routine early on?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just kind of talking to some of the guys that have been here before in the previous summers, kind of finding out some spots to like work out, and then just talking to the coaches and figuring out when the best time each day to throw is, and just kind of sticking to what works for you in the season, knowing what day you're going to throw your bullpen and do what day you're going to do what lifts. And so yeah, the first week's definitely kind of tough, but I kind of figured out my schedule and try to stick to it as much as I can.
When you're a starting pitcher here on the Cape, and you move to a new place, and you're only playing about once a week, what's that like? How does the camaraderie in the bullpen kind of get along? What's that like?
Yeah, it's definitely different. You're only throwing once a week, so obviously you got 5 days with the off day to kind of just come to the field and get your work done, and then obviously hang out and try and keep it light in the bullpen or whatever you're doing, maybe in the dugout, trying to be a good teammate and cheer the team on. But just trying to enjoy it as much as you can. The town out here is obviously spectacular, and so it's been fun just to kind of be able to just kind of hang out the games that I'm not pitching in, and just kind of enjoying the talent and seeing some of the players. So it's been a lot of fun.
A lot of your teammates are guys also from the SEC, so you've pitched against them before. Yeah. Do you remember any of those specific outings? Do you talk to any of the fielders about that, anything like that?
I haven't. I know Koziel and Holcomb were freshmen this past year. Didn't play Vanderbilt this year. So I didn't face them, but Zane Adams, obviously who's starting tonight, he went 8 innings against us this year as the TBA starter on Sunday. So that was kind of a fun conversation the first day we were here. I was kind of introducing myself, and he's like, I'm Zane. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I know who you are. You sent us home with a loss. So yeah, it's been fun to kind of know some of the guys you see on opposing teams during the school year, to kind of play with them and get together with them in the summer. It's been fun. All
right, well, thank you very much, Ben.
Yeah.
First pitch coming up soon. Adam Gotkin now joined by Sean Brennan, beat reporter for the Bourne Braves here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk, ahead of the Bravos taking on the Kettleers. Let's start things off with Cotuit's starter today, one of the older arms that we'll see here, and he's from a Power 5 school and one of the better ones in LSU.
Yeah, Thatcher Hurd is a guy who's been in college a couple years, like you said. His stats don't exactly jump out at you. 6.55 ERA, 56 strikeouts in about 44 innings, but he's the 114th best MLB draft prospect according to Major League Baseball, so there's a reason he's on the Cape. There's a reason why he's a big name. He has a good fastball, a good slider that he's known for. So it's going to be a challenge for Bourne's lineup today. We talked about how they tend to strand runners, and they might not get a ton of base runners with this guy on the mound.
Well, Cotuit has been one of the better teams so far in the league this season, and a large part of that is the bats and the power of those bats.
Yeah, we talk a lot about power, but this Kettleers team has it. They lead the league in home runs. They are third in extra base hits. They have 4 guys who have hit as many home runs as the Braves as a team. So We always talk about how it seems like the long ball does the Braves in. They're going to have another challenge on their hands today.
And on top of what Cotuit already has offensively, they've just brought in another guy in one of the better low major bats in the country out of Bucknell.
Yeah, Sean Keys. And listen, when you're a team in the Cape, you're going to lose guys to USA. The Kettleers lost 7 guys. But this Sean Keys, he is something else. One of the best players in Bucknell history. You look at his career records, the list goes on and on. He batted over 400 this year. His slash line is incredible. He won Patriot League Player of the Year. So just accolades across the board. I think he'll be a huge addition for an already strong Kettleers team.
We'll see what he can do today. We'll see what happens in today's game coming up at 6 p.m. It's the Bourne Braves and the Cotuit Kettleers.